The steward's shoes are the first thing you notice. Squeaking, fast, wrong, on the linoleum outside your cabin door. It's just past 11 at night, and the corridor smells like coal smoke and boiled cabbage from dinner service hours ago. You feel it before you hear it. A shudder through the floor, like the whole ship just cleared its throat. Then nothing. The engines, which have hummed under your feet for 4 straight days, go quiet. You are 22 years old. Your name doesn't matter tonight. What matters is that 6 months ago, you were mucking stalls on a farm outside Queenstown, Ireland. And tonight, you are 3 decks down in a third-class berth on the RMS Titanic, holding a folded letter from your uncle in Chicago with an address for a meatpacking job written on the back in pencil. You are not a hero. You are not important. You are a man who wanted steadier work and a warmer coat than the one you own. And you paid £7.15 for the privilege of a bunk you're sharing with 3 strangers. It's the night of April 14th, 1912. The Titanic is 4 days into her maiden voyage from Southampton to New York. She is the largest moving object ever built by human hands. Her captain has received 6 iceberg warnings today. None of them have changed her speed. The bunk above you creaks. Bridget Colgan leans her head down over the edge, gray hair loose from its pins. 61 years old and traveling on the same ticket line as you because she's from 2 farms over, and your mother's arranged it that way so neither of you would cross the ocean alone. She's going to her son in Massachusetts, the only one of her 4 children still living. Around her neck, on a bit of twine, hangs a small tin whistle. It belonged to her boy Michael, who died of the fever at 9 years old. She's played the same 4 bars of the same tune every night of this crossing, low, almost under her breath, like she's checking that her hands still remember it. You climb out of the bunk. In the corridor, other passengers are doing the same. Men in undershirts, women pulling shawls over nightgowns, all of you exchanging the same useless question. A steward passes, calm-voiced, telling everyone it's nothing, go back to sleep. You believe him. Most people do. You don't know yet that the ship has struck an iceberg at 11:40 p.m., a glancing blow along 300 feet of her starboard hull. You don't know that 6 of her 16 watertight compartments are already taking on water, one more than her design can survive. You just know the floor doesn't feel right under your feet anymore. Faintly tilted. Like a table with one short leg. Down in the mailroom, 2 decks below where you're standing, clerks are already wading through water up to their knees, dragging sacks of registered mail toward the stairs, refusing to leave the letters behind even as the room fills. None of them survive the night. You'll learn that later, in a newspaper, months from now, and it will keep you awake. You go back to check on Bridget. She's already dressed, coat buttoned to the throat, whistle tucked inside her collar against her skin. By midnight, the order comes down. Lifebelts on, make your way up. 3rd class is berthed at the stern and low in the ship, and getting to the boat deck means climbing narrow stairwells and crossing through gates meant to separate the classes, a requirement of the immigration laws back in America. Tonight those gates are shut, and a crewman stands in front of one with his arms crossed, telling a growing crowd of 200 people to wait. Just wait, there's no need to panic. You do not know these facts yet, but they are facts. The ship carries 20 lifeboats, enough for 1,178 people. There are 2,208 souls aboard tonight. The math was never going to work, even before anyone panicked, even before anyone found a locked gate. Bridget's hand finds your sleeve. I'm not dying in a hallway, she says, and for the first time in 4 days, she doesn't sound like someone's grandmother. She sounds like someone who buried a child and has decided this will not be how her story ends. You believe her. You start looking for another way up. You find it, a service stairwell, unlocked, used by stewards, that a group of you funnel into single file. It's narrow enough that you have to turn your shoulders sideways. The air gets colder as you climb, and somewhere above you, you can hear it now. Actually hear it. The ship's band, playing ragtime on the boat deck, like nothing at all is wrong. 28 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the temperature of the water 2 decks below you right now. Cold enough that a man who falls into it has perhaps 15 minutes before his body stops obeying him. Somewhere behind you, a woman is crying for a husband who went to find life jackets 20 minutes ago and hasn't come back. A man near the top of the stairwell keeps checking his pocket watch, as if the time is going to tell him something useful. It's a small gesture, and it's the kind of thing you'll remember for the rest of your life. How ordinary people looked in the middle of something enormous, still doing small human things. Straightening a collar, counting coins, saying a name over and over like a prayer. You break out onto the boat deck at 1:10 in the morning. Cold air, clear stars, no moon, and the ship listing hard enough now that you have to plant your feet wide to stand straight. Lifeboats are being lowered on both sides. On the port side, an officer is loading women and children only, turning away husbands, brothers, sons. But here, on the starboard side, a different officer is filling the boats faster, and when there are no women left standing nearby, he's letting men step in too, so the ropes don't leave with empty seats swinging in the dark. Boat 13 is loading. There's a gap. Someone grabs your arm and starts pulling you toward it. And this is the moment. Bridget isn't beside you. In the crush at the top of the stairwell, you lost her, 30 feet back, maybe less, swallowed by bodies moving toward the boats. The seat in front of you is real. It might be the last seat that comes with a man's name still attached to it. If you go back into that crowd to find her, you may not get another chance like this one. The boats are less than half full of what they could hold, but they're leaving anyway, because no one running this evacuation quite believes yet that the ship is truly going to sink. You could take the seat. No one would ever know you had a choice at all. You could live a long, ordinary life, and never once have to explain yourself to anybody. Or you could go back for a woman who is not your mother, not your wife, not owed to you by any name you could put on paper, and who might already be past finding. You let go of the rope. You go back into the crowd, shouting her name into faces that aren't hers, and for almost 2 full minutes, which is a very long time to stand still on a sinking ship, you don't find her at all. Then you do. She's pressed against the deckhouse wall, one hand fisted around the whistle at her throat, the other bracing an old man who's gone faint from the cold. She won't leave him either. You half carry them both back toward boat 13, and the deck is tilting hard enough now that loose deck chairs are sliding past your feet, and somewhere below the sea is already climbing the grand staircase one step at a time. You reach the boat. There is exactly one space left. Bridget looks at the seat, looks at you, and does not hesitate the way you did. She pushes the old man's hand into yours and climbs in herself, and before you can argue, she pulls the whistle over her head and presses it into your palm, closing your fingers around it like she's known this was coming her whole life. Mind it for me, she says. The boat drops away into the dark at 1:40 in the morning, 3/4 empty of the capacity it was built to carry, and you are still standing on a deck that has less than 40 minutes left above water. You don't get another boat. There isn't one left for you. At 2:20 a.m., the lights fail. The stern rises until it's nearly vertical against the stars, and the ship that could not sink goes under, taking with it more than 1,500 people who had nowhere left to stand. You go into water that stops your breath on contact, the cold hitting like a wall you didn't see. You find wreckage, an overturned collapsible boat, already crowded with men standing on its hull, using their own weight to keep it from rolling. Someone reaches down and hauls you up by the collar. You stand there for the next hour, soaked through, packed shoulder to shoulder with strangers on an upside-down boat in the freezing dark, all of you too afraid to shift your weight, watching the cries of the people still in the water slowly, one by one, go quiet. The Carpathia reaches the first lifeboat at 4:10 in the morning. It takes her crew almost 4 more hours to bring every survivor aboard. Of the 2,208 people who sailed from Southampton, roughly 705 are still alive to see the sunrise. You are one of them. Bridget is one of them. You make it to Chicago 11 days later than planned. You take the job at the meatpacking house. You marry, in time, a woman who never quite understands why you flinch at the sound of a ship's horn on the lake. You raise 3 children who grow up thinking the small tin whistle on your dresser is just an old, dented thing that doesn't play right anymore. You've never once managed to get through all 4 notes of Bridget's tune without your hands going still. Bridget herself lives to 84, 3 streets over from her surviving son in Massachusetts. You write to her every April, and she writes back every April, and neither of you ever mentions the date directly. You don't have to. You never talk about that night at the dinner table. Not really. Once, when your oldest son is 9, the same age Bridget's boy Michael was, though you never tell him that, he asks if you were scared. You tell him yes, once, plainly, and then you change the subject, and he never asks again. Some nights, decades on, you still wake up certain you can hear a band playing somewhere, just out of reach, and it takes you a full minute in the dark to remember you are in Illinois, and it is 1958, and the sea is nowhere near you. Decades pass. You are an old man on a porch in Illinois, and your granddaughter, maybe 6 years old, finds the whistle in a drawer she wasn't supposed to be in. She asks if you'll play it. You put it to your lips. You get through 3 notes clean, the way you always do. You have never once finished the 4th.